All right, y'all, buckle up because this case looks peaceful, but it unravels fast. A group kayaking trip, one sentimental camera, choppy water, and two people convinced the other crossed the line. He says she panicked and caused the crash. She says he grabbed her paddle and made it worse. Now, throw in ocean risk, first-time nerves, and emotions tied to loss. And yeah, this gets complicated. Nobody walked in planning drama. But nature doesn't care about intentions. Watch how confidence slowly turns into defensiveness on both sides. Because by the end, this case isn't about the ocean. It's about responsibility.
Okay, I've got Mr. Varma here as the plaintiff and Ms. Rains as the defendant. Mr. Varma, why are we in court today?
Your Honor, I'm here to sue Ms. Rains for her complete negligence, which caused her kayak to crash into mine, causing my kayak to capsize. And when my kayak capsized, my belongings, which was my water bag, fell into the water, and I ended up losing a very critical piece of equipment, which was my camera. Your Honor, this was not just a camera.
Right away, notice how this starts. He frames it as negligence, not an accident. That's deliberate. He's assigning fault before facts are even laid out. Then comes the emotional weight. The camera wasn't just gear, it was a gift from his father. That raises sympathy instantly, but sympathy isn't liability. Courts don't rule on heartbreak alone. So the real question becomes, emotion aside, who actually caused the loss?
And she
Jessica's
asked
a friend,
me,
a girlfriend? Who is Jessica?
it's just a friend
Okay.
from college. And she reached out. She was like, hey, we have a group together, and we would love to go to Channel Islands, and we want to kayak. And so we would really like you if you can be our tour guide. That would be kind of great. So I agreed.
Got it.
And I asked Jessica that, is there someone that has never kayaked before? So she pointed out that 8 people have basically no kayaking experience. There was about 12 people in the group. There was 12 people in the group.
Was Victoria one of no experience?
Victoria was one of the 8 people.
Okay.
And knowing that we had 8 inexperienced kayakers, I wanted to make sure that we get there early in the morning because the water is relatively calm in the morning. Compared to the afternoons, it can get choppy right after 2 or 3 p.m. We were there and Victoria was running late. It was 10 a.m. We missed our ferry. The group was unhappy, but we decided that, hey, we don't want to leave her behind.
You waited for her?
We waited for her.
What time do y'all get there?
We caught the next ferry.
Which was at what time?
Which was around 12 o'clock.
Oh, so now you're in mid-afternoon.
This is where context quietly shifts things. 8 people with 0 kayaking experience, and he knew that. He also knew afternoon waters get rougher. Missing the ferry pushed everything into riskier conditions. Nobody forced the trip, but decisions stacked on top of each other. That matters. Because when risk increases, responsibility starts getting shared.
Okay, so initially Victoria was doing just fine, but as the waters became more choppy right after 3 p.m., I looked at Victoria and she was struggling. She was struggling more than the others. I got close. As I was getting close, I told Victoria to stay calm and remember the instructions that I'd given her prior to boarding. And what happened was, as I was trying to grab onto her kayak to stabilize it and calm her down, her paddle hit my face and her kayak hit me perpendicular. And so I fell into the water as my kayak essentially tipped over. Once I got on the kayak, it was then that I actually noticed that my belongings were gone. The water bag was gone.
Oh my gosh.
And
here's the moment everything turns. He goes from guide to rescuer in seconds. He's trying to stabilize her, calm her, control chaos. But water doesn't work like land. One wrong move and balance is gone. Paddle hits, kayaks collide, splash. No bad intent, just bad timing. So is this help or interference that backfired?
So you understand that there's a risk of harm.
Absolutely.
So why would you bring something so precious to you on a kayak?
You know what, Ms. Rains, let's hear from you at this point. Do you have any evidence that you want to prove to this court to support your claim?
Absolutely, Your Honor. At this point, I'd like to present this evidence.
Great.
So, if I might back up a bit, I'm a student at UC Irvine, and I know Jessica, our mutual friend from high school.
Okay.
She invited me to go on this kayaking trip with her friend Rahul, and I said, yes, that sounds super fun. So we decided to meet at Santa Barbara at the boat dock landing, and so when I get in my car that morning, I realized my car battery was dead.
Oh, okay.
So that is what set me back, not the traffic.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's nothing possible. I called Jessica, so apologetic, felt horrible. I told them to go on without me if they wanted to, but they waited.
The judge asks the question nobody wants to hear. Why bring something priceless into the ocean at all? That's not cold, that's reality. Risk doesn't disappear just because you're careful. And when she starts talking, her tone is different. No blaming, no dramatics, just explanation. Is that avoidance or quiet accountability?
So the afternoon lightens and it's about 3 p.m. and the water gets a bit choppy.
Right.
And that's when we come out of the cave and I start freaking out a bit because it's getting a little murky. The water's just kind of crazy, you know?
But you had been told ahead of time, ma'am, that that would happen the later the day went.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew it was going to happen, but I started freaking out a bit, as one would. First time on a kayak.
The ocean is very intimidating.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to balance myself with the paddle and I'm kind of waving it around a bit. I was trying to get settled and I started getting settled a bit, and then all of a sudden I feel Rahul's hand grabbing my paddle and yanking it towards him. I don't know what he was trying to do, but because he yanked my paddle towards him, I guess trying to stabilize me, the top of my kayak T-boned his, and then next thing I know, I hear a huge...
This is raw honesty right here. She admits she panicked, and honestly, that makes sense. First time kayaking, open ocean, choppy water. Fear doesn't follow instructions. He says, wait. She reacts. Both sound human, not reckless, not cruel. So when panic kicks in, who carries the fault?
Capsized, tipped over, and you won $808.13.
So actually, this is to prove that I paid for that myself. I never expected him to pay that because...
So you paid this bill yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I knew that having my equipment on the ocean, that's a risk.
You understood the inherent risk
Absolutely,
of that.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Varma, please offer up your evidence as well. Okay, so you purchased a new vintage camera?
I purchased, yes.
Okay. But obviously not the one that your father had gifted
It's not the same one. Yeah.
Right, so
It's
there's some
something similar.
sentimental value
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
And let's see what we have here. This is you communicating with the defendant. You're saying, hi, Victoria, I got your number from Jessica. Can you please pay me $450? That's the cost of my camera that was lost because of you! Exclamation points. That could be read a little aggressively. You say, I'm devastated over the loss, which you were upset. My father gave me this before he passed away, and you give your Zelle info. You say, no way. You lost my phone too, and I didn't ask you to buy me a new one. If you didn't try to help me, we wouldn't be in this situation. Now, I do find that interesting, Miss Raines, because...
This is where credibility gets tested hard. She brings receipts, not to demand money, but to show she paid her loss herself. That matters a lot. Meanwhile, his messages come off emotional, even aggressive. Understandable pain. But courts separate emotion from obligation. Loss doesn't automatically equal reimbursement. So now ask yourself, is this injustice or assumed risk?
Yeah.
This court cannot hold this woman accountable for the very understandable and foreseeable risk that that property could be damaged or lost forever once you bring it into the ocean, wet bag or not, sir. I thank and commend you for doing your job. If this young woman was truly in danger, you could have saved her life. And if the only thing that was lost was a camera and a phone, may God help us all. The court finds that this plaintiff's case will be dismissed.
And that's the reality check. The judge doesn't dismiss the pain. She just refuses to assign blame where risk was obvious. Ocean activities come with consequences, even when intentions are good. This case exposed something uncomfortable. Sometimes nobody's wrong, but nobody's owed either. If this one made you stop and think, drop your take in the comments. And subscribe for more real courtroom moments like this every week.